It was the first weekend I'd come back home from college. The house smelled like lavender-scented candles, just like it always had when Mom wanted to make guests feel welcome. But this time, the guest was me, April. I hadn't been home in nearly 5 months, and I was craving the warm familiarity of my own room and the comfort of my family. Mom greeted me at the door with the tightest hug imaginable. "You've lost weight, baby. Are you eating?" I rolled my eyes, smiling. "Mom, I'm fine. I eat. Maybe not your level of fine dining, but I'm alive." She fussed over me for a while before my brother, Tyler, stormed in from the backyard. He looked taller. Or maybe just broader. His hair was longer than I remembered, brushing just above his eyebrows. He gave me that typical big brother grin, the one that always annoyed me yet felt comforting. "Hey nerd," he said. I gave him a tight hug. "Hey loser." That was our thing. Insults that meant love. Tyler was 2 years older than me, and had always been a mix of protector and prankster. Growing up, we'd been close, until I left for college. We hadn't spoken as much since then. Life got in the way. Texts turned into memes. Calls became rare. After catching up over dinner, I went up to my old room, tossed my duffel on the floor, and flopped onto the bed. It was like stepping back into a version of myself I'd left behind. Posters from high school still hung on the wall, and the scent of old books filled the air. The next morning, I woke up early, stretching and groaning. My body ached from the 6-hour drive. I padded across the hall in my robe to the bathroom. The house was silent except for the low hum of birds chirping outside. Everyone must still be asleep. I locked the door, turned on the hot water, and stripped down. The water felt incredible, washing away the exhaustion and stress I didn't realize I was carrying. I lost myself in the steam and the rhythm of shampooing my hair. That's when it happened. A loud click. The door creaked open. My eyes flew wide, and I instinctively pulled the shower curtain closer. "Tyler! What the heck?" He froze mid-step, his face as shocked as mine. "Oh my God, April. I didn't know you were in here." The door wasn't locked. I did lock it. Well, clearly not. I ducked further behind the curtain. "Get out." He spun around, flustered, and practically ran out of the bathroom, slamming the door behind him. My heart was racing, not from embarrassment, but from the complete shock of it. We'd both changed. We weren't kids anymore, and that moment hammered it home. As the water kept running, I just stood there, staring at the tiles, my face burning red. Later, after drying off and pulling on some sweats, I tiptoed downstairs. Tyler was sitting on the couch, watching some show he clearly wasn't paying attention to. His face was redder than usual, and he kept fidgeting with the remote. I sighed and sat beside him. "Okay, that was awkward." He let out a nervous laugh. "You think?" There was silence between us, broken only by the laugh track from the TV. "I seriously thought you were still asleep," he said. "I'm sorry. I should have knocked. I thought I locked the door. I guess I didn't click it all the way." We both looked at each other and laughed, a real, awkward, tension-melting laugh. That moment, though completely uncomfortable, was a turning point. Not because of what happened, but because it opened a crack between us that had grown since I'd gone to college. We finally talked. About school, about life, about how different things felt now that we were growing up. "You ever feel like we're becoming strangers?" I asked him. Tyler nodded. "Yeah. It's weird, right? Like, you're still my little sister, but you're not little anymore." "I miss you," I said quietly. "I miss you too." That night, we played video games like we used to, laughed until our sides hurt, made fun of each other's terrible taste in music. And for the first time in a long time, we felt like family again, not just people passing by each other in life. Over the next few days, I noticed how much my brother had matured. He was more thoughtful, more serious. He told me he was considering joining the fire academy, said he wanted to do something meaningful. I told him about my plans to pursue journalism, how I wanted to uncover stories that mattered. By the time I was packing to go back to college, the house didn't feel quite so distant anymore. My room, the kitchen, even the bathroom with the now double-checked lock, it all felt like home again. As I loaded my bag into the car, Tyler walked out with a bag of snacks. "Don't crash the car. And text me when you get back." "Yes, Dad," I teased. He gave me a side hug, the kind that lingered. You know, next time maybe put a do not disturb sign on the bathroom door, he joked. I rolled my eyes. Next time, knock like a normal human being. We both laughed again. As I drove away, I kept thinking about how one awkward moment turned into something unexpectedly meaningful. It reminded me that relationships aren't built in perfect conditions. Sometimes they're built through cringy, real, raw human moments. Because even when life gets awkward, love, family, and connection have a way of shining through the steam. Not in a dramatic way, just subtly. It was like we both realized that we'd grown up and hadn't really taken time to acknowledge that fact. The day after the incident, I found him in the garage, tuning up his old car. The same beat-up Mustang he'd been trying to fix since junior year of high school. I stood by the door, watching him struggle with a wrench, grease on his hands, tongue poking slightly out in concentration. You still working on that thing? I asked, grinning. He looked up, wiped sweat from his forehead, and smirked. It runs now. Mostly. Needs a new carburetor. You wouldn't understand. Try me. I know how to change a tire now. College really changed you, huh? I mean, I still scream when I see a spider. But yeah, I guess it did. He nodded. That's not a bad thing. You were really freaked out yesterday, he said. I still focused on the car. I just want to say again, I'm really sorry. I swear I didn't mean to walk in on you. I know, Tyler. It's fine. I overreacted too. I guess it was just unexpected. He chuckled. Unexpected is one way to put it. That moment in the garage opened the door to longer conversations. We sat out on the porch that evening, drinking iced tea and talking about everything. Our childhood memories. How Dad used to prank Mom on April Fools every year. How I once dyed Tyler's hair pink while he was sleeping. We laughed so much it hurt. Remember when I sprained my ankle at the school talent show and you carried me home? I said. He grinned. You were crying like the world ended. It did end. I missed my solo. You were terrible at singing. Hey, I had stage presence. That night, Mom made meatloaf, Tyler's favorite, and insisted we eat at the dinner table like old times. The conversation was light, but I noticed the way Mom kept glancing at us. I think she sensed something was different, too. After dinner, Tyler and I found ourselves on the living room floor, sorting through old photo albums. One picture caught my attention. It was from my 10th birthday party. I was covered in cake, grinning, while Tyler stood behind me holding a balloon over my head like a halo. You always had my back, I said, tracing the photo. Still do, he said, his voice softer now. You were my annoying little sister, but you were always here. And then suddenly you were gone. And it was quiet. I missed you too. I guess I didn't know how much until I came home. The next morning, I made him breakfast, burned toast and slightly runny eggs, but he ate it anyway. He even asked for seconds, which I knew was his way of being supportive. We went hiking on the old trail behind the neighborhood. We sat by the lake, watching the sunset like we used to when we were younger. One night, we even built a pillow fort in the living room, something we hadn't done since I was 12. It wasn't just nostalgia. It was healing. We started talking about the future. He told me he had been struggling, working part-time jobs, trying to figure out who he was supposed to be. Everyone expects me to have it together, he said. But I don't. Some days I wake up and feel stuck. You're not stuck, I said gently. You're just figuring things out. That's what your 20s are for. I think you'd be a great firefighter, I added. You're brave. You're strong. You don't freak out under pressure. You think. I know. As I zipped up my duffel bag and looked around my old room one last time, I felt a tightness in my chest. Tyler helped me carry my things to the car. When we hugged goodbye, it wasn't rushed. It was lingering. It was real. You better visit again before another 5 months pass, he said. I promise. And next time I'm locking my door. I laughed. Deal. As I pulled out of the driveway, I looked in the rearview mirror. Tyler stood there, waving. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like we were drifting apart. Because somehow, through one of the most awkward moments of our lives, we had reconnected. Sometimes life gives you a twist you don't see coming. But if you're lucky, it turns into something better than you expected.